after they finish their term, right?
They say every, it's a Newton's law, I think, every action.
I have a lot of active duty military in this community. I have a lot of veterans in this community. But I think the one job that I don't have any members of are like probably current police officers. It's the one sector that I have almost no sympathy for whatsoever. You said watch Vosh? No, there was a video like a while back of a cop literally driving while watching the Vosh YouTube video. Yeah, here, this is it. That's not fake, by the way. This is real. I wonder why they're not a huge part of your community. Yeah. We got the most luxurious police department in the USA, and I think we're gonna do that. So for those of you who don't know, this is Producer Michael. Producer Michael is a legend in this community. An old school legend. He is, I think, a producer, not entirely certain as to what he really does. I think he produces things, but what he produces for the most part nowadays is like these big fanciful productions of people's like wealthy people's houses and stuff. The most famous video from Producer Michael that led to the most amount of Hasanabi lore and actually became a meme entirely online was The One. The One house, which is the most expensive house. Hold on, I'm gonna pull this out right now. Here it is. Nobody needs this much house. 731,000 views. This is his most excellent work, in my opinion. Honestly, since then he's had a bit of a fall off era. I think I haven't really seen anything about him, but here he is back at it again inside the most luxurious police department in the USA. We're gonna do SNL after this. Dude, what an intro. Producer Michael jump scare. I guess it's not so much as a jump scare. You know what you're gonna get when you click on the video, right? I mean, what you see is what you get. Is Producer Michael your neighbor? Wish. Do you still comment on true crime sometimes? Yes.
Today we've got something really, really special for you. We are going to show you the world's most luxurious police department. We're here in Beverly Hills, and I'm sure everybody knows Beverly Hills is renowned.
They found the only cop that's in shape. I swear to God. He's doing PR for the Beverly Hills Police Department, which notoriously is famous for setting up actual blockades during the Rodney King stuff. Setting up actual blockades that partitioned off Beverly Hills from the rest of the city to ensure that like none of the chaos actually came into Beverly Hills. So today is Rodney King's death day. Wait, really?
Renowned for, high end, but this takes things to a whole nother level. And we're here with Sergeant Newman.
Mike, great to meet you.
Great to meet you too.
Dude, look at him. He's got the horseshoe and everything, bro. This is propaganda. First and foremost, let me explain to you something. This is propaganda.
To the most luxurious police department in all the world.
These guys are just amazing. I am so...
more fun facts. The LAPD, the Los Angeles Police Department, spends, I think, $8 million a day. Their overall budget is like $3 billion. They are incredibly spoiled, entitled. They are dog shit. They don't do their jobs. Beverly Hills Police Department is no different. The Sheriff's Department in Los Angeles also has its own gangs. Obviously, this is fun day, so I'm going to be hitting this in a fun angle. We're going to talk about that. But I feel like I haven't seen this video yet. I haven't pre-watched, but I do feel like this video is going to leave many of us thinking, perhaps maybe we should defund the police after all. Let's take a look.
So blessed to be able to live in this city with a police department that takes great care of us. I think you have the fastest response time of any police department, right?
Yeah, because it's a rich neighborhood. That's why.
So our emergency response time on average is below 3 minutes. So I don't know if it's the fastest in the entire world, but I bet.
Certainly fastest in Los Angeles. That's probably for real. Sure it is.
That's pretty fast. So what are we going to get to see today?
So we're going to take you behind the scenes. I know you live in the city, you get to see what the police department does a lot, but we want to take you behind the scenes and kind of show you the inner workings of the police department. What do you say we maybe go to the shooting range, go to the jail, maybe see our technology of the real-time watch center, and see just why this department is the best in the world.
Let's do it.
This is your entrance to the jail. So a couple things. I don't know if you guys have any weapons on you. Does anybody have any weapons?
I've got a machine gun and no.
Yeah, I was expecting you to say you have two guns right here.
Right.
He's British. Oh shit! Producer Michael's boy. He said, "Yo, what's up? Got the switchblade on me. I always keep that mother Mustang on me. You know what I'm saying? Cameraman coming in hot. He's like, yeah, I do have a weapon, actually, officer. Let me, sorry, let me, this is a service weapon that I took off of you, but it's fine, I guess, you know? Here you go. Take it. That's not a big deal. He came gatted up.
Oh, you got one?
I
Perfect.
do, I'm
So I'm
afraid,
gonna
sorry.
take this and we're gonna lock these things up.
What is that, Adam?
Just a knife.
Oh,
Just enough.
So I think
Is that legal?
Crocodile
Is it
Dundee said that
blade?
once too.
Yeah.
We're gonna put our firearm in here. Yeah, I'll check that if it's illegal later on. Maybe we can keep him.
yeah, right?
I also
That
have
would
a
be
knife.
fun.
So there's a couple things that we can't bring in the jail: weapons like knives, guns, etc. But like a taser.
Can we tase somebody?
You know, let me
That's insane. You are a freak bitch, producer. He said, can we tase somebody? Brother, that is crazy, okay? That is crazy. Least violent American. Okay, the thing is, he's not even American, as implied by his accent. Why did he go full American here?
see you later on. Yeah. So in
Maybe we
that-
get somebody to volunteer to take it.
maybe we could actually maybe arrange that.
Maybe he wants, okay, maybe he's based and he wants to tase a cop, a bobby.
Don't look at me.
On this
Bobby.
side, with the visitor rooms you have behind you, you literally have the typical, like
wow.
you have the lawyer come in and actually sit down and talk to a client, just like the movies.
Can you put him in the other side?
Yeah, absolutely.
I want to talk
Yeah,
to
we
you
can
on
do
one
that.
of those phones.
Oh my gosh, the chair.
Oh yeah, it's make sure you can't do anything with
Can
your-
you see this, Adam? Okay.
I'll even shut the door so you can have a private moment with your
Oh, wow, it's
client.
very short.
Hello.
Hello. How's it going?
Oh, I'm being monitored, it says.
I know, yeah. Yeah, we are here too. They're very short cables, aren't they?
They're very short.
I wonder if that's so you can't like wrap it round your neck.
You have a comfortable chair. This is this piece of concrete, etc.
I know, I to be fair, look, I have two, so I could actually take one of these and put my feet up like this.
Can't hear you. This is thick glass. Okay, I want out of here.
All right, you want to go to jail?
Yeah, why not?
That's the easiest I've ever had to do that. Wow. This is the main jail
Hi.
floor.
Hey, guys.
There's two
Oh my God, dude. Oh my Lord. Even this is very dystopian. Yes. Jail weaves might be the worst. This no pixel update looks sweet. Yeah.
of our jailers.
At least they know they're like the bad guys, right? Aren't the minions bad guys?
Hope this is the only time I meet you guys.
Taylor and Maura.
I'm joking, you.
This is the fingerprint
I'm
machine.
joking.
Just what it is.
No, I do plan on coming back. Yo, you should be arrested for this fit, okay? What you are wearing currently is a fashion crime. You are a fashion criminal. You are a fashion felon. Do you understand? They should be arresting your ass for wearing whatever Dan Flash's ass shirt that is with the flames on the blazer. I know people say, Hasan, says you. I don't do that anymore. Guys, I haven't had a bad fit in a long time. No, my old fits, the statute of limitation has run out. You can only point to my old fits. I have literally gotten better. We just described this.
You put your fingerprints obviously on this green
You'll go, Adam.
portion,
My guy?
and
Yep.
it will actually upload your fingerprints to the different databases, the FBI,
Go
etc.,
ahead.
to make sure you are.
I'm
who you
good
are.
actually. Yeah, no, I'm fine. Yeah. Weirdly, I burnt my fingertips the other day.
Oh
so
yeah, so in that case,
Yeah, oh dear.
nothing left.
nothing else we can do.
Oh dear.
On this side, we have what we would call like the intoxication cell. So you can tell, first off, it echoes nicely inside of here, but they have a padded floor.
Oh, wow.
So when somebody is unable to, if someone is intoxicated where we need to watch them a little bit more, this
Drunk
is one
tank.
of the places where we can do that. We can even put something on the ground for them if they want to sleep here.
What's that?
That's so funny. The floor is padded, except they literally have this like brick right here next to the toilet. So you can still trip, fall, and hit your head directly on this corner and die.
It's
Lovely.
it's not a swan toilet.
Would this be the wrong time to do a swan toilets integration?
Yeah, right. It would be perfect.
It's kind of interesting. And then we have two.
Why is the floor like this?
Because drunk people won't bang their head if they fall over.
Oh,
Yes.
okay.
We're hiring.
Yeah,
So
duh. But also doesn't matter because there's still plenty of things that they can bang their heads on in there
you
on
wanna-
accident.
He's got it spot on here. We also have different.
By the way, luxury. This is the most luxurious police department. Dude, the most luxurious police department in the United States of America is still so bad. Like in comparison to like the worst Norwegian prison, America's best prison still looks like a shithole.
Different places our inmates can make a phone call. By law, we have to give them phone calls. Some of the people who
By law.
advertise in the jail
We don't
for bail
want to.
bonds and
That's
things
so
like that.
crazy.
And someone who sits down could choose to call one of them or just anybody else that they want to when they're getting processed.
And they get one phone call.
No, they get more. And if they have kids, they get even more because they want to make sure we have adequate care for child who
that's
might
great.
be at home. So we have 2 holding cells here, and that's your typical cell.
This would be fun to build in a house, right?
Would
Kids,
it?
hey, you've been misbehaved.
Into the holding cell you go.
Exactly.
Handcuffs?
You'll notice there's handcuffs when we have a mass, like a arrest thing that goes on, or an incident, I should say. Let's say like during a protest that goes wrong, turns into a riot or something like that. We can process many people through this facility, and part of that is to have them restrained if need be. Put that handcuff on even if you'd like, because I do have a key.
Well, is it the right size?
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
They're all the
it's
right
one
size.
size fits
I
most.
have a big, maybe it's supposed to have a big.
No, the
right
bottom
below.
one. The bottom
So-
one. No, go down one.
One there.
There you
we
go.
go. I have some experience putting these on. There we go.
Put it
All right,
on
you
at
ready?
this-
Yeah,
Let's
let's
get
go,
out of
let's
here.
go.
All right.
Do you want a beer?
See you later, Michael.
See you in a bit, mate. Bye.
I don't like
Good. Keep him there.
So is this
You're arrested for that fit, dog. You are arrested for that fit.
how you would put it on at this level? Or do
So
you make it
when
tighter?
someone's sitting,
And
yeah.
for
So when
being
someone's
British.
sitting here, it's a lot easier just to kind of relax your arm here, and you're still restrained. If
you let me
trying
out,
to get,
please?
I can.
Yeah.
I can do that. And here, there we go.
This is not comfortable.
No, they're not made for comfort. They are metal around your wrist.
Yeah.
Not ideal.
Not like a
Yeah, dude, that's crazy. Didn't realize that. He's like, wow, just found out being arrested, not comfortable.
Cartier bangle or something.
So this is the main
funny.
jail floor. Then we'll kind of walk down. We can show you some of the regular cells that we actually have. On the right
quite
is that
big.
elevator I was telling you about.
You were saying, wait, what? This fit went hard. This fit literally went hard body. You are delusional for thinking this fit didn't go hard. That was not an L fit. I stand on that. I stand on this business. It's mostly just you're making fun of the hair because it was wet, but that's it. Dude, you guys are crazy. Damn, Hasan, I wanted to defend you too. I'm sorry. You are literally out of your mind if you think this fit was not hard body. It went hard. It went nutty. Doesn't matter. You're wrong. You're haters.
Oh, this is where they come
Normalize
up.
clothes.
There-
Bro, chat goes so far to be like, oh, dude, yeah, your fits suck. To literally look at a normal ass fit and be like, yeah, this actually sucks. Standing on unemployment, 100p, that's a good ass fit.
There's the little height chart. You can kind of see how tall you are. And someone gets processed here. So they search them, make sure they don't have any weapons on them, and then they would move into the jail facility, including the red footprints here, which are when you would answer questions for classification purposes.
Right.
Have you ever been arrested for a violent crime? Are you part of a gang? Those type of things to help us classify.
And they
what
won't tell you though, right?
Depends. Some people do.
Do
It
they?
just depends on the person and what their circumstances are. We get a lot of unique answers.
I'm sure, right?
So, perfect timing. You already read my mind. The kitchen, that's where the filet mignon and...
This is
and-
for the inmates.
Yes. No, that's not. We serve the inmates actually in the cell when you...
Just remember, Cali aesthetics are a wave or two behind the rest of the world, and then DIY t-shirts with $1,200 Carhartt work pants are an insult to us workers. $1,200 Carhartt work pants. There is not a single Carhartt work pant that is $1,200. You just made up something in your mind to get mad at.
need be. This is actually a padded room. So
Balenciaga Carhartts? Do they even have Balenciaga Carhartts? The f are you talking about?
we have, let's say, a violent or combative arrestee who does not want to listen, doesn't want to do what they're supposed to. As you notice, there's nothing in this room pretty much at all except for these padded walls and floor. The drain even, because unfortunately people like to do bodily functions in here, and so sometimes, yeah.
Are you glad we're
Yeah,
in
right?
here?
So good, wash your shoes afterwards. But
Oh
sometimes
my God.
we have to
Let
literally
me out.
wash
I
the room
don't,
out.
I don't want to be in here. What is it? What is this? Somebody tried to break out?
That could be. It could be someone who's, experiencing a mental health crisis who tries to pitch away at it, chew
Damn,
at
these
it,
are
whatever it may
sick.
be.
It's actually
Okay, these are actually fire. I didn't even know these things existed. But this shit is, ew. Oh, God, I hate zippers like that. It's so nasty. But these duck shorts, ooh, they go hard. I like that. You're enabling me. If I wore that, you'd be like, this shit is, you're pulling that off.
actually very uncomfortable when you're inside that room. It's not pleasant.
No, it's very oppressive.
Yeah,
for sure.
very, very much so.
And we don't keep people in here for a long time. Once they're calmed down, for instance, we like to move them to a normal cell.
And you probably don't like to put them in there in the first place.
No, and that usually means that we're dealing with them in a more combative scenario. We don't want that at all.
May I interrupt you?
Of course.
Do you have any prisoners in here right now?
So we do on the far side.
Okay.
So that's why we're going
Okay,
on this
okay,
side.
okay.
But you know, I could have it to where you happen to run into one.
No,
and
it's Oh, wow.
And see, we have numerous cells. Each one will house one person.
Are there that many criminals in Beverly Hills?
Thankfully, not usually, but we do have the capacity just in case.
Has it ever been full?
I don't know if it's been full because we did have one time we arrested a lot of people during a 2020 during the protests and civil unrest, that we did fill a lot of the cells and processed a lot of people. Whether it was completely full or not, I don't know, but it was certainly the most we probably ever had.
What's your capacity in here?
Oh, what is it? 36.
Okay.
Yeah, and that's actually housed, right? So we could actually have some people waiting and getting processed,
Yeah.
but yeah, 36. And again, it's very rare.
I'm convinced this is the most in shape cop. Like, this is the guy that they have on for PR purposes because he's like the most in shape cop, right? It has to be, right? Taking me back to Ohio, taking me back to where lovers go. Oh my God.
Yeah, and we ask certain inmates to do so.
Because they smell, right?
Sometimes.
Do you want to go check out one of the cells?
No, I'm fine.
The bed's quite nice.
Would you like to go in? I'll hold the camera.
We won't shut the door.
I'm happy to hold the camera. Oh, a mattress and everything.
I know.
Yeah.
It's actually pretty nice.
You got a
Very
window.
nice.
Kind of like the one I've got in my
Can
truck.
we lock him in?
I mean, you were the one locked in handcuffs. So
Yes,
it would
that's
only
true.
Be,
That's-
only be right.
It's nice. You got power outlets here, so you can plug in your iPhone.
Yeah.
Are they allowed to bring their phone in here?
No.
No.
Not at all. But it's still just, you know, I'm sure whatever that was for is maybe it's for maintenance purposes. Because if there's no electrical outlet here and you have to replace or fix something, you're running a power cord obviously all the way.
Right.
But yeah, everything's pretty much locked in. You got your sink, your bathtub, or your toilet. And you think about the movies like where it's Alcatraz and they're trying to pull the toilet away from the wall and chisel through. Well, if you did that, you're just in this
Just escape to here.
Yeah, or in general, if you tried to go out that way, you're on a third story of a building. So there's not a lot of options for people to escape here, which is good.
I heard a rumor that you have like a luxurious suite where you can pay to stay in it.
So that program called Pay to Stay, we suspended that during COVID. However, I can show you one of the rooms. I don't think all the furniture's there anymore, but it was like kind of a
They
Yeah,
admit
hotel
me,
room,
I can
right?
get out.
Oh yeah, I can show you this real quick. This is how we could have someone either handcuff up, so they can put their arms out backwards and get handcuffed, or we can serve them the food through there if we don't want to open that door at all. So that's the option. Each one of those can do that. And I'll show you
Lovely.
that. Show you the penthouses of all penthouses.
Yes, let's see the.
So
What are these?
there's some
a
storage
gurney.
stuff. So the gurney on the right was the old way what we would have in a.
Bro, the spooky music is actually fitting the vibes all of a sudden. The even though like I would rather have it be spooky music than cheery music where he's like where he's basically talking about like, you know, apprehending people and detaining them days on end sometimes and being like, "Oh, this is not comfortable."
A combative arrestee who says, I don't want to go with the program. We'd sit them in that, handcuff them to the gurney, and wheel them into the jail. The issue was that a gurney, even though it's very stable, it is not as easy to control someone, and it's so wide that it's very difficult to get next to them as you're trying to pull this thing in. So the next evolution, I'll show you, is a chair. And this, let me move this thing here real quick.
These things are awesome.
This chair here is a more secure way. So someone can sit here, get complete.
Bro, what? I thought he was going to show the like go-kart one. That one is way worse. How? They were like, "Hey, we found an even worse way to apprehend people. That looks like a torture chair, man."
Completely strapped in, and you can literally like a wheelbarrow like that, and pull someone wherever you need to go. And the advantage with this is
This is the torture chair where we put mentally ill people that we apprehended and torture them.
even if you rock and move and everything else, you ain't going anywhere. And so let's say we have to do a forced blood draw. So we need to take blood from a DUI suspect, for instance. We'd sit them in this chair, have someone come, and they can't move their arm at all, and they can extract that blood if need be, usually by a search warrant. So that's that option. But then we evolve.
Usually via search warrant, implying that sometimes not a search warrant. Like what? God, we are so crazy. This must be illegal. No amount of depravity is illegal when it comes to police in the United States of America. The fun tone that he's taking. Wait, can they forcefully extract blood? Yes. the fun tone, the cheery tone that he is taking is a clear juxtaposition to the damning, torturous conditions that he is presenting here.
Ball from there, because this is kind of expensive. And we said, let's stop over here and let's take a look at some even better and more efficient and cheaper option that helps out officers.
This looks like a Costco basket.
Yeah. So yeah, you can do your Costco shopping from this for sure. That cart would
It's
be
got
worth a
drinks
lot of
holders
money.
in the back, look.
Yeah, exactly.
Put your Stanley flask in there.
Yes, so you can really be in any free samples you get too.
So you put somebody in this.
So you first
Look at
you
this
would
thing,
put them
though.
in this thing called the wrap system. So the wrap is I like to call it the human burrito, but essentially.
Oh damn! I thought that other wheelbarrow looking one was at least like kind of cool. Turns out no, they wrap you like Hannibal Lecter. Jesus
This is
Christ!
over your legs, and it actually will wrap your legs, this portion here, and you strap those in. So we actually would have some, you see knees here. You'd actually put the suspect's knees there and wrap their legs. Now, you take this portion, which is almost like a glorified shoulder harness, and can you guess which side's the back and which one's the front?
No idea.
Yeah, we make it easy.
Yeah, cops are not the smartest people, so they're like, you need this. Trust me. Michael, believe me. Michael, believe me, a lot of cops need this this level of hand holding.
Stupid proof. From there, this part would go over them, and they get connected to this, and you actually sit in an L. And it's strapped to where you can't move, you can't do anything.
Like a straitjacket.
And it's almost like a hammock, because you're not going to get hurt. You can't
Right.
hurt yourself. And even if you try to bang your head on something, we have a helmet. So we can actually take this, throw that under the suspect. They can't hurt themselves. We're not hurting them. And
Just like a
in this-
taekwondo helmet.
Right? Yeah.
This is literally man-made horrors beyond comprehension in full display. This is a torture mechanism for mentally ill people that they've apprehended violently. They're just like cheering it on, like, oh, very fun.
Yeah,
Nice.
it's kind of like that. And in this, we're basically just having them in like an L relaxed hammock position.
Yeah,
and
so
we have never
relaxed.
seen a suspect be more happy.
I'm sure.
They sit there and they just go, there's no more fight. There's
Right.
nothing to do. And you can actually hoist the person up and put them right into our Costco shopping cart and bring them to the checkout. So a great piece of equipment. The first time we ever got it and we used it on a suspect, it was just immediate. Officers loved it. Loved it.
How many officers does it take to put somebody in that?
So you could do it with 2. Realistically, if you're dealing with someone who needs to be in that, you already have numerous officers on scene.
Right.
And 4 is probably a good number to help out with everything. I'll put that away, I promise.
This is the penthouse.
This is the penthouse of penthouse. Now, it's just bare bones now, but just use your imagination to imagine the potential of this.
Dining table, sofa,
Right.
bed.
And what is a real estate term they say is like, it's cozy. That's keyword.
Cozy.
Small,
Yeah.
But yeah, it's cozy.
Location. Yeah. And what is this in here? This is for your visitors?
This for your pets.
Yeah. Instead of one person, we could use this to house numerous people.
A family.
Usually we don't have families, but yeah, I guess it
Why is he laughing? Oh my God.
could. So this is the same thing if you look when we go on the
They used a fake study to claim safety claims for the body restraint used by U.S. authorities based on disputed study. Of course, ICE uses it. Wrap device used by ICE says it can be used without restricting breathing, but investigation shows claim based on anecdote. Wow, safety claims made by the manufacturer of a full body restraint used by more than 1,500 authorities across the U.S. are largely based on anecdotal evidence and one disputed study. An investigation by Capitol in Maine has found. The wrap device is used by U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement. What is used on, for the record, what is used on undocumented migrants, what is tested on them will inevitably be used on, natural U.S. citizens as well. Natural born U.S. citizens as well. This is how it works. First, we test out the weapons on Iraqis, right? Then we use it on undocumented immigrants in this country, which have no laws, obviously. We do, but we just don't abide by them. And then inevitably we use it on everyone else. This is the turnstile of fascism, I would say. Very cool, very nice. Seems normal. Okay, let's continue.
the other side of the room, you'll see it's basically the exact same thing. You have 4 or so beds over here, and then you'll see on this side, it's similar.
So how did this work? So somebody would pay money
Yeah.
to stay in this suite,
Yeah.
and then they could have their own food,
So they would bring, it has to be someone who has a, let's say a short sentence. Let's say you're sentenced to 3 days in county jail.
Okay.
Well, instead of serving county jail, if you have no medical problems, you have no medication you need to take or be distributed to you, you bring your own food, and you want to be here for, let's say, 3 days. You could pay at the time to stay here for that instead of going to county jail. Or
I've had to do an onboarding at psych hospitals when people came in on these things. Most of the time it's used on cops who don't want to deal with an autistic teenager that was having an episode gross shit. Yep.
or they're not going to give you any accommodations. You'll be with everyone else.
Right.
So it's kind of a nice option.
What did it cost?
You know, when I first started, I remember they were saying something like it was like $190 a day, if I'm right, and that I started in 2012. So whether or not the inflation has created
Maybe
an increase,
$250.
maybe, you know, and you know, I haven't gone on Expedia.com lately to see if they have a new updated price, but right now with it being suspended, I don't know.
Was there a TV in here?
There was a TV in here.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Wow.
And back in the day, you know, people could bring DVDs, that was a thing, and now kids don't even know what DVDs are.
Right.
So.
And so what kind of thing would you come in, like if you had a 3-day sentence,
Yeah.
what would that be for?
I mean, it could be for a lot of different lower level crimes.
I wonder if that cop uses steroids. 100p. Fun fact, but many cops, a lot of cops use steroids. People don't know that, I guess, and are shocked when they find out. But a shit ton of cops use steroids. Like the one, if you see an in-shape cop, definitely a steroid user. Very likely. Is he mewing though? I don't know. Let me tell you. Definitely not subscribed to the Hasanabi broadcast. So if he's in here, he is going to be seeing a 3-minute ad break at the top of the hour. I don't really have a good segue. I know I've been looking for one. Honestly, I have not found one. There's 2 different versions of cop: thumb skull or roid head. Many more are thumbos.
Felony you have, you're not coming here. But if it's like your second or third offense DUI, and you're sentenced to a few days in jail, this is very typical what we saw for someone who comes here.
Right.
And it just depends. And for instance, you could do a weekend, spend 2 nights, say you have a 4-day sentence, 2 nights on a weekend, and come back next weekend and do 2 more nights. So you can accomplish the time in jail that you're supposed to.
Can you have visitors come and stay with you?
You know, I not stay with you, but you can have visitors. There are visitor hours where same how you guys were in the
With the telephone?
there. Yeah, absolutely. So you could talk with a visitor through that phone aspect anytime. We've had inmates bring in all sorts of different things, from drugs to weapons. There's a person that tried to bring in a knife that was concealed in their underwear. I've had people who put a safety pin and a little baggie of drugs and attached it to their inside of their underwear because their thought process was, I'm going to feel that. Are they going to go up into there and feel? So again, we capture, a lot of people think they're going to get away with bringing stuff in, but we have numerous checks. In addition to the officer searching them, another officer might search them and the jail staff. So you get numerous searches, and sometimes the inmates say, why are you doing this again? Because I want to make sure, because it's a deadly game if someone were able to bring a weapon in here, because as we saw when we first came in, you can't bring weapons in here.
Right.
So if that person does get a weapon in, we're at a huge disadvantage, and you see how long it takes to get into the facility nonetheless. So we take it very seriously when we process people in.
How does this compare to like a city jail?
Well, this would be very similar to a city jail. The only difference is a lot of other cities don't have this large of a facility. You might have a couple different cells, but depending on the city, it could have a very, very large jail. So LA, like the city of Los Angeles, some of their jail facilities are way larger than ours. And then obviously the county runs a full jail with like 1,000+ inmates.
Right.
So that is different levels of cities invest in the jail, because if you go to Culver City, for instance, their jail is going to look different. Santa Monica, their jail is going to look very similar.
Does each cell have just one inmate?
For us, yes. Unless you're in one of those big holding cells for intoxication, or, you know, in theory, the family cell is opened up again. So those are the things that we would have different aspects of people mixed together, but we like to keep people separate as much as possible.
Makes
that would
sense.
make us happy.
Michael's a bit low energy in this one. I noticed that too. I think like even the vibes of being in a prison have, the vibes of like being in a fucking prison and talking to a jailer like this, no matter how much you try to put a cheery tone on, is going to be a little weird.
Where are we going next?
Well, let's take a look. I'm going to call down to our range, because that would be fun, and maybe we can get down there. So the range is, inside, which helps out for officers training, because their patrol staff has to qualify usually around once a month. They have to come in and actually qualify with their firearm, sometimes a long rifle, sometimes a shotgun. and different techniques. Low light, they can turn the lights off in here, and you'll have to use your flashlight. So there's different courses they'll get put through to make sure their training stays top notch. The last thing you want is to kind of be rusty. It's not like riding a bike where you can kind of just get back on and go. If you stop training with your firearm, you will lose those skills, and it becomes that much harder to implement them, especially under stress.
Right.
Can you imagine your worst day, your heart's pounding, you're nervous, your fine motor skills are going, and now you're asked to hit a target that's far away, and people will say, why don't you shoot the gun out of his hand, or why don't you shoot the knife out of their hand? It's hard to do even when you're not nervous.
It don't matter because you still are not going to have the active hit rate for like every goddamn police department in this country is abysmally bad. Okay. Like in an active shooting scenario, oh my God, not great. Okay. Yeah. When you're nervous, like an acorn falls on your cop car and you think that the suspect that you apprehended and put inside of your cop car has a suppressed weapon secretly, you're gonna mag dump.
Right.
Let alone add all those human factors into it, and not just watch it from a third-person view. So,
and that's what people see is a third-person view, right?
For sure. And now with all the body camera footage, it is kind of interesting. You get to see, it's great training for officers, but sometimes people they forget there's the human emotions involved.
Right.
You hear
Adrenaline.
And you'll hear people's breathing on those body cameras because it's such.
A Spanish YouTuber went to Bukele's jails and did an insane video.
Will enter an isolation cell, which is where prisoners are sent when they commit an infraction.
Wait, what the Okay, that is definitely not fun day. We will save this for tomorrow. Oh my God, bro. The prison for gangsters of Nayib Bukele, CCOT. Why are they doing PR for, oh my God. That is actually horrors beyond comprehension, torturous shit.
Crazy amount of adrenaline. And I can't, I've never been involved in officer-involved shooting, thank God. But people talk about everyone has a different reaction to that too.
I'm sure. Can't be nice.
No, definitely not. Down in the end, you see it's all rubber, basically. So every so often, they have to actually remove all of that rubber and clean out all the old lead from the bullet that's actually in that whole mesh over there. Wow. So you can imagine thousands of rounds are in that, and every so often you have to clean that out, otherwise you could have a lead issue.
Right.
So we also have on this wall, it's a white wall, and it kind of looks like a place you could have a projector. Well, that's exactly what it is. These 3 carts that are here, we roll them out, and you can create almost like a video game. You can have a screen where you're able to take a scenario where somebody is first saying it's in a warehouse, it's at night, and there's nobody around, and then all of a sudden the video will show someone, hey, let me see your hands, and the person will pull out a gun. Oh man, wow, that was quick. They'll play the same scenario again. This time you can set it to where they pull out their cell phone, and then maybe an officer accidentally shoots. Maybe they, and it's good trained to where they can learn how to have these split-second decisions. Although there's no substitute to real life, it helps us with some additional training down here. We'll do that every so often. So
amazing.
4 firearm safety rules. We follow those all the time. The biggest one is number 4, be sure of your target and your surroundings. If we have a justified reason to shoot, but there's someone right next to you, or maybe behind you, or a school behind you, we may not be able to take that shot, even though we're legally justified to do so, because we have to be careful about innocent bystanders.
Of course.
Just adds another layer of complexity to the job that the officers face on a daily basis.
Amazing. Yeah, it's just a tough job. Very, very tough job. People don't realize what police officers actually do. When you approach a car, if you pull a car over for speeding, you have no idea who's in that car. Right?
Oh, dude, he is so Ameri-brained. He is so Americanized. Yeah. 17th most deadly profession, not even cracking the top 20, I believe, but with COVID deaths, maybe it does.
Right, you don't know if they have a gun, you don't know what their motive is, so you have to be very, very careful, and I guess everything is done for safety.
Just as you said, we don't know. I don't know who you are,
Scary.
You know who I am, and regardless of your color, religion, race, doesn't matter. You could be a threat to an officer at any time, and we just have to be ready for those things, while simultaneously having a good attitude, try not to be a jerk to somebody. I'm friendly and nice. Another partner of mine might be the sarcastic type. Everybody, if you work in any business, you have those different people throughout your business. I won't tell him what you said about him.
No, don't.
But you have those people in anything you do, especially something like Los Angeles Police Department, LAPD. They have like 9,000 employees that are sworn officers. How many of them are going to be the poster guy of their department, and how many are going to be different? How many are going to be the kind of equate to high school too. You have the jocks, you have the nerds, you have the people in
Bit of
different
everything.
groups.
Everywhere you
Because
go. That's true.
welcome to human nature. So we try to find the best and the brightest to come here because, again, it's the best police department in the world.
So this was an original taser, right?
Yeah, that's one of the very, very first tasers that they ever created.
Why does it have an antenna?
I don't know what happened in the past to make them need an antenna, but what I can tell you is the new ones, the Taser 10, which we have now, this thing is just leap years ahead of this now. In this, you actually have 10 darts versus whatever that does. You have 10 darts that you can fire at somebody individually.
This motherfucker do a hashtag ad for tasers? What the hell?
And the idea is a lot of times when we have to tase somebody, it's ineffective. You've seen many videos online where someone fires the taser and it doesn't work. And then it leads to officers having to use higher levels of force. With this, we're able to deploy these darts and you just keep going until you receive what's called NMI, neuromuscular incapacitation. In other words, when you see them like lock up really hard and fall over. And we've used this in the field. There's actually a guy walking down the street with a machete in his hand and wouldn't listen to commands. And the officers used this Taser 10, this brand new device that only a few agencies have in the country. And we're able to stop him with like 5 or 6 of these darts. But one of them finally got the connection and he just locks up, falls. We got the knife away from him and we're able to resolve that essentially without anyone getting hurt. But imagine how different it could be if we didn't have this or it fails.
It is pretty wild that like he's so giddy talking about tasing people. And it's like, yeah, there are going to be moments where like you would definitely rather have a taser than not, but like incredibly rare moments. You know what I mean? Everything he's talking about, down to like even the apprehender, like the autistic teenager apprehender that he was showing, like there will be an extreme scenario where that is a necessity. But knowing how police operate in the United States of America, they're using that way easier than actually necessary. How big is the machete problem in LA? You ask cops all the time. It's just that like it's the same principle behind like police existing. Like obviously there needs to be a force that is maintaining the presence of law and order, something that I bring up all the time. It's just that the way that we have it set up, it doesn't do that at all. And it does it in the exact opposite direction. And it's doing the lawlessness and disorder. Oh my God, it's so bad.
And now I'm this close.
And then you think about like, all the other places around the world where there are like larger problems with knife crime than the United States of America, even though we do have a massive amount of knife crime that occurs here as well, by the fact that we also have guns. And the way that they use like way more antiquated methods, human catchers, like in Japan, they have that one like weird pitchfork thing that's like a man catcher, shield walls that like come in on people. Like they are still infinitely better than, you know, mag dumping into a person with a taser.
You and you have a knife. It's game over. It's cool. It just kind of loads right onto here, and voila, you're ready to go. It makes some fancy noises, which I'll point in the safe direction.
Knife crime in the U.S. is higher per capita than the majority of Europe. Yeah.
Here you can kind of hear this when you want to give them a warning alert. So you want to give them some sort of visual and auditory sensation that says you're about to get tased. You lift up on the safety selector here, and it kind of gives like a Star Warsy kind of lightsaber sound, and gives them a flash of those 1,000 lumens in the eyes to say, hey, stop what you're doing. And if they don't, you would start deploying those taser darts, as many as you need to affect that person.
I need to buy one of these before I leave here.
Yeah, cool. I was reading up on those, and because there's a microprocessor that will detect which of the pins to kind of send the electricity between. So whereas before,
Producer Michael's a switchblade guy is also an Oi bruv. He used to be an American, no? He swapped it. He swapped out his American camera guy for another Oi bruv. That makes a lot more sense that he had a switchblade on him. Honestly.
Or if you didn't hit them with the 2 barbs, then you were out.
Correct.
With that, it'll pick any one of them, and that's why they're so...
Yeah, let's say you fire 5 darts and only 2 of them connect, the very first one and the very last one you fire. That system will actually evaluate that and also try to pick the best 4 connections on the body. So in theory, I put all 10 darts on you. The ones that it would activate are the ones that are furthest away, and it would start learning and basically firing those off and say, oh, there's a connection, that's the best connection, and firing those out so that way you completely lock up. And once you fall, we can put someone in handcuffs and then stop the Edison's medicine, as some people call it.
I love that, Edison's medicine.
Oh my God. Why are you laughing?
Before we pass through these doors, you can see the sign that was created to kind of highlight the courage that the men and women of this police department takes every day when they step through this door and start their shift in patrol.
And it's true.
I think like the reason why people receive this, what I consider to be like gross propaganda, people receive it in a way more positive light is because like in their minds, they're thinking about the worst possible scenario. They're not thinking about like the most common scenario, which is like the day-to-day interactions where police often escalate through violent means when they don't need to at all. They're simply thinking about the worst possible scenario where you have like a serial rapist mass beheader that cops have to bravely apprehend while he's doing serial rape, mass murder, or decapitations or something like in the scene of the crime. So that's like the issue here. Whenever you talk about like cop shit, you're not thinking about like literally when they do this kind of stuff, which is objectively not in the scenarios that where you have a serial mass rapist murder decapitation going on, but instead just like a dude having a bad day. You know what I mean?
Ooh, cars.
Your favorite. So down here, this is what we call A-level. A-level is our parking garage. So not as cool as your latest video.
The only thing I will say, the most effective propaganda I've ever seen is not shit like this, but the Broward County Police Department, I think it was Broward County, they apparently seize cars. I didn't even know this. And they slap on like a seized asset sticker on the side of it. And they will give like dudes Hellcats and shit, which is definitely not something that you should do regardless. Like we need to be doing less police chases in this country because they're very, very deadly. But yeah, they take a lot of like they do civil asset forfeiture from people who have like stolen cars or whatever, or whoever they've like gotten it from, maybe like a drug bust or whatever, right? And they literally slap the lights on them. They slap lights on them and use those actual cars to chase suspects in like Grand Theft Auto situations or like in high-speed police chases, which definitely does look cool, I hate to admit, but is also phenomenally dangerous and should not exist at all. But that is, I think, like very, yeah, look, see, this is what I mean. Florida Sheriff Office shows their Corvette Z6 was reportedly seized from drug dealer. There was a TikTok that I watched that went viral a while back where it was like a Broward County Sheriff's Office guy who literally had the suspect that they had apprehended standing next to the car that they had apprehended him in with a doing like a post-game interview basically, which was really dehumanizing, really awful. And you know, still it's just like weird. It's a conflicting set of circumstances for me, because on the one hand I'm like, this does objectively look kind of cool, but on the other hand I'm like, this dude is just like perp walking this guy and doing like, he just treats him like not human, you know what I mean? And the I don't know, it's just up. All right, let's continue.
With $150 million worth of equipment, but we might come close. You know, we might have pretty close to that. Right out there, you can kind of see that ramp that comes down. That is right on Rexford Drive, right out front of the police station. And as the officer would come down here, they would take and find one of their parking spaces. You'll also notice the parking always back in, almost every officer backs in, and that's so we can rapidly get out and go. So we'll walk over to our world famous motor bay.
Some of these cars have some amazing technology on them as well,
They do, yeah. We'll get inside one of our cars and take a look.
Oh, this guy's got a parking ticket.
That's actually a write-up slip. So when a car needs some maintenance, an officer can write that slip and the shop can come over and take the car, get an oil change, whatever it may be. Over here we kind of have a little bit of a mix of a museum as well as our motor bay, where our active motorcycles are here that the officers would take out and go write those tickets that we were talking about.
Amazing. Beautiful bikes.
Yeah, BMW makes these bikes, and you can even see the new ones. They're pretty brand new. You have an old school display here with your different speedometer, tachometer, and then you look on the other one to the left, it's all electronic screens now. So the motor officers can't be a brand new officer because they have to know the streets. There's no GPS on this.
Right.
They have to know how to use the radio. They have to know basic police work because they're on their own. There is no partner with them. So our motor officers are even more sometimes standoffish, as we talked about, because They have to be. They're by themselves, alone and unafraid.
Yeah, dude. There's a lot of like mass murderers with heavy weaponry roaming the streets of Beverly Hills. Like, you'd think he's talking about a war zone, okay? Yeah, they have to be more standoffish because they're alone. It's like, dude, you are literally stopping a person for a seatbelt violation. What do you mean standoffish? Yeah, dude, you never know. You never know an RPG that they're gonna pull out of their car. He's acting like they're patrolling the streets of El Salvador or like Cape Town or something. Okay, it's just like, it doesn't make sense.
And they have different equipment that they bring all with them. They have 2 different saddlebags here that they can put stuff inside of. You end up having their batons up in the back. They can actually lock their
To be fair, it's America. Yes, brother, but it's Beverly Hills.
rifles in. So as you notice on this side, their rifles locked in so someone can't come.
By the way, for those of you who don't know, so I took a politics criminal justice class in college. I had to. And for that politics criminal justice class, I had to do a ride along. Awful experience in general. I think it genuinely reaffirmed my lack of interest in cops, alongside the fact that like New Brunswick Police Department and Rutgers Police Department in general were like such assholes to college students in general. And one of the things that you learn in this class, and I think like criminology majors and stuff will be able to describe this to you. Yeah, we had a police department head. His name was Kenneth Kopp. Literally, his last name was Kopp. That's so funny that you know that. But yeah, RPS name, exactly. Anyway, the point I was going to make is that the standoffishness, like one of the things you learn, I think in criminal justice in general, is that cops need to assert authority in every single scenario. This is their justification for why they behave like pieces of shit all the time, right? Because police training and the way that they train, like the way that they train you from the jump, is that you have to assert authority over every single scenario, no matter how minor an infraction is. The additional stuff like, oh, you never know if they have a gun or whatever, like the fear mongering that comes from this, the fear mongering that comes along with this is like extra training. I would say that's like not the introductory level, but they, in every single circumstance, they teach you that you have to basically be a power tripping asshole. You have to assert authority. That's what he's describing. That's why he's saying like, oh, that's why they're standoffish, because they're alone.
Come over here and try to take a rifle or try to pull the trigger. There's no way to get to that. So that's one advantage. But you know, all these spikes, you have to carry everything you need with you. Right. And sometimes the officer...
That's for safety though, right? Like, isn't that proper protocol? No, it's proper protocol. Like, this is what they teach you, that you have to assert authority in every single scenario as your job. Like, your job is to never to de-escalate, basically, that you have to command respect. So if someone is mistreating you and being standoffish, you are quite literally trained to be a asshole. Although de-escalation and talking to a person like they are a normal human being with normal wants, needs, and interests would probably, demonstrably, as a matter of fact, not even probably, demonstrably work infinitely better.
Will leave their helmet. Sometimes they take it with them. You got the radar gun over here on the right. You can pull that one out if you'd like.
Boo, and then throw it on the floor.
Oh, is it locked in?
Yeah, it's locked in.
I wonder why.
There's a key, right?
Yes. So in this case, you know, you have to actually use the key to get this accessible, because you know what someone would love to do? Take that from a bike.
Of course.
So,
right. Sirens.
Yep, so sirens. The other thing you'll see in new bikes nowadays is there's a yellow light. Now, I've never been a motor officer, but one of the things that I was told by that is it helps being substantially more visible to cars, whether it's at night or during the day, because it's not just one headlight shining through, or two for this matter. You see, oh, wait a minute, this is a shape here coming at me. Keeps them a lot safer from being hit from someone in a blind spot, because that's one of the biggest dangers of these guys. Right. They get a hazard pay specifically because of how dangerous it is to ride these bikes, especially in our city in Beverly Hills.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Then they have.
Do you have some kind of example of this being demonstrable? Good faith question, but I believe you and made the same claim, but my art teacher said it was unsubstantiated. Wait, de-escalatory tactics and conflict crisis being demonstrably more successful than asserting authority? Look at American policing and its outcomes versus policing in every other country. We have some of the worst policing overall. Anything that you want to know about like failure in the American system, compare it to other OECD nations like Western European countries, or even fucking Eastern European countries, like honestly, Canada, pretty much everywhere else that has like decent quality of life, or much better quality of life, as a matter of fact, and you will see better outcomes in general. Where in the world is a good example of a cop system? So obviously there are issues within the structure of policing under capitalism in general everywhere around the world, due to the very definition of like what police, due to the very reasons why police exist in capitalist countries in general. So I would say that theoretically, if we're talking theory, if you look at like comparatively better policing outcomes, pretty much every other country outside of the United States has like some worse aspects of their criminal justice systems than the United States even. But also when it comes to policing and apprehension and you know, the way that cops treat people is going to be better. I'm a social worker who works on the street in Canada, and de-escalation is the best thing you can do to not get stabbed. I've stopped people with knives in their hands just by talking smoothly and taking to them and taking my time. Yeah, absolutely. But you will never be able to describe that to an American hog. I think only OECD nations that have citizen gun ownership should be compared to the US. Most OECD nations do not have that much gun ownership in comparison to the US. It doesn't matter. That's why I brought up the knife crime situation. America beats out most OECD nations on knife crime as well. And the methods in dealing with knife crime in those other countries are still better and more humane. That's number one. Number two, there are OECD nations with like high levels of gun ownership, Switzerland, okay? Why, or even Canada. Canada has a higher level of gun ownership than like European countries. Switzerland has the highest level of gun ownership in Europe. For some weird reason, their training is different. Their training is different overall. I literally got rear-ended by a cop once, and the prick came up and asked me for my ID and had his hand on a service weapon. I then told him to f off to get a supervisor, so we called him for backup, which was 8 cars all surrounding mine. He then told his boss that I brake checked him. Little did he know that I had a dash cam which showed him texting and driving. That was my ACAB moment. I think cops do a pretty good job of like making you despise them in general. I would go so far as to say that like I have way less altercations and interactions with police. The richer I have gotten, definitely, the less I get bothered. I used to get pulled over all the time in the busted up Toyota Camry. And the worst of the worst was definitely when I was younger and in New Jersey. Holy dude, holy moly, New Jersey. Oh my God. They had, first of all, they have like civilian cops in New Jersey with the lights on them too. Oh yeah. So awful. Former New Jersey cop here. The authority shtick they teach is called command presence. Yes. Asserting authority, command presence. I would go so far as to say New Jersey cops are worse than Los Angeles cops in some instances, like in the way that they deal with like every single goddamn altercation. What's a civilian cop? No, it's not. They're not a civilian cop. They are driving civilian cars with secret lights on them. Unmarked cars. Yeah, proper term is unmarked car. California, like the minor, what do you say, the allegations that you're donating to the GOP all day, every day, baby? I'm a secret Trump Republican. You have the easiest job ever. Yes, I do. Other than policing. Police have the easiest job ever.
Have, you know, a little this memorial museum type of thing here.
Oh, that's so cool.
Back in the day, the old...
How old is this bike?
You know, it's the old Kiyosaki, like, I have no idea how old it is, but it's possible
Great
that
piece
it's
of memorabilia.
Yeah, very cool.
Look at the jacket, the leather jacket.
There will be a motorcycle fan
bot,
somewhere
right?
in the comments. Let us know, what year is this likely to be?
Oh, I'm sure they would know.
I'm guessing 70s?
Oh, just run the license plate. No,
Yeah, there you go.
perfect.
Cool.
So you have your PA. As you can see, it's extremely loud. When we have
This came from somewhere. I don't know where that came from.
Oh, whoops. Well, in that case. No, this is just the officer's personal charger for their phone.
Oh.
We'll start with over here. Typical car, nothing crazy about the controls that you have on this side. There is only one button on the far left side, which is like a, it should be an indicator. If you,
The one with the red light on it?
the far left next to the toggle switch. Yep, that. So if you push that, so what that did is you'll see this green here. It shows a key. If you were to, as you notice, there's no keys in the car.
No keys.
It's still running. So right now, if you push your foot on the brake, don't do it though, the engine would shut off.
Okay.
But a lot of times we'll go to a call and someone says, hey officer, you left your car running. We know. The reason we kept it running is because all this equipment takes that energy, that power from the car's battery. It will stay on for a little bit, but eventually it's gonna stop and you have to restart everything.
Right.
And so it's a lot of stuff to return on. It's kind of like a spaceship.
I don't understand how they're able to steal cop cars then. Like, is that why? Because it's always on?
With that start stop button, you can basically push that, take the keys out of the car, go to a call, come back, put the keys in, and drive. If someone were to smash out my window, get inside, and try to put their foot on the brake to put it into gear.
This is a fancy cop car. I don't think these cop cars are all that fancy anymore, Chatter, unless you live in like I feel like cops have fancy shit everywhere around the country. They are the most heavily funded public institution out there. Like in every state, they are the most heavily funded public institution. They're the only institution that consistently grows and consistently gets more funding. That's why you'll go to like a bum town in Iowa and they got like a MRAP. It's like, dude, you're not driving over mines. Why do you have that? What is happening? Why do you have this like military surplus gear that you got that was supposed to be used in the Karengal Valley? Like, what the hell's going on?
The car will turn off. So it kind of helps the officers
That's
prevent
clever.
them from
That's clever. I've
having
wondered
issues
about
of
that.
someone stealing their car, which would be quite embarrassing for a police officer to have someone steal their car. The computer is kind of the hub of the car, and you're allowed to do a lot of different things. And we will start with our actual interior cameras. You get a good view of who's in the back seat, and you can just hit record. And while the officers are driving around, let's say with an inmate back to the jail, they can watch them on the camera the whole time to make sure they're not ingesting drugs or something. Granted, their hands are behind their back, trying to hide something. And if you were to look in YouTube, there's numerous videos of people doing some weird stuff back there, from trying to get a gun out of their waistband, different aspects that we want to prevent, and watching them on camera is one of those ways we can do that. So the front camera, this doesn't look in great resolution, but it actually is it's very good resolution, and you can even zoom in, and this records everything from this that we have up here. The other cool thing about this is it has a built-in automated license plate reader. So while we're driving, this camera is actually taking pictures of all the license.
I feel like this level of like equipment is only a necessity for special weapons and tactics, like specialists in the forces, and should only be deployed in like a killdozer style situation. But like this armory is deployed on a routine traffic stop, and that in and of itself is basically like a yet another reinforcing factor in the way that like cops mentally treat every single interaction that they have with people. And we are so conditioned into thinking that this is normal. Like there is no world in which you can advocate for like demilitarizing the police force without people being like, what are you talking about? No, this is one, cool, two, they should have this. Not realizing that like they use it on you too, man.
License plates that are passing by.
Wow.
And able to identify if a stolen vehicle passes by you, or has a warrant attached to the plate, or is a wanted person.
That's amazing.
So you
That
could
is
just be
absolutely
driving,
amazing.
and all of a sudden this thing will alert the officer, hey, right next to you, bozo, you got a bad guy. And you can actually go and
bad
effect
guy.
that stop. Or
Do all police departments have this?
probably not all police departments, because this is kind of a combination of different technologies. We have dash cameras and automated license plate readers. The new model that we have up here from Axon.
He's like, yeah, dude, this is great. You can catch the bad guys with a unpaid parking ticket and nuke them. Nothing looks cool in this car. Totally outdated shit, lol.
I think it's the Fleet 3, combines all those things together, and it's a pretty expensive product, obviously, and we have they just created it probably, I'm guessing, a year or two ago. So as more agencies can afford it and install it in their vehicles, they probably will, because it's cool to combine all of those things together. Then the car is connected to the internet. One of the advantages of the internet, I won't open up their web browser. That's probably a bit not smart. They'll probably set me up. But for the most part, if you need to, let's say, take a picture of evidence in the field, you can upload that to your email, pull up your email from here, and attach it directly to a police report in your car. You could write all your police reports in your car and only come back to the station to physically book evidence, like our bikes, if you need to. But
This is how cops watch Vosh on the job.
I remember one of the big things that police officers used to say, they spend so much time writing reports
yes,
after they finish
yeah.
their term, right?
they say every, it's a Newton's law, I think, every action.
I think policing is the one job. Like, I have a lot of active duty military in this community. I have a lot of veterans in this community. But I think the one job that I don't have any members of are like probably current police officers. Like, I have former cops and shit. It's the one sector that I have almost no sympathy for whatsoever. You said watch Vosh? No, there was a video like a while back of a cop literally driving while watching the Vosh YouTube video. It's not even a joke. That's a real thing that cops, yeah, here, this is it. That's not fake, by the way. This is real. I wonder why they're not a huge part of your community. Yeah. I quit 4 months ago. Hope you quit because of, hope you quit because of them COVID, brother, and not for some gay shit like the crippling depression that you came to have due to the unjustifiable hierarchies that you were upholding. I think the one type of cop that we do have in this community are, I think, like corrections officers. We have some.
As an opposite and equal reaction. Every cool thing you do has an opposite and equal paperwork reaction,
right,
if not more. So we do still write a lot of police reports, process a lot of paperwork. It takes a long time part of the job, a large chunk of your job. And any officer that comes in thinking, oh, you don't have to be smart to be a police officer, you've got to be a very good writer.
Right.
You got to do a lot of creative writing to justify the fucked up shit you did to the homeless person. You got to be a real good writer, okay? Listen, first of all, no, you definitely don't have to be good at anything to be a cop. Let's be for real, okay?
And that's a minimum. And from there, you have to learn all the other technologies, be able to defend yourself, defend others, drive a police car with lights and siren on. Those things are obviously tough for some people to get down, and that's why some of our training.
Dude, his world is so clouded by how dumb the people surrounding him are that he's currently describing pressing buttons, okay? Like, the most route task you can arrive at, like things that babies do, okay? He literally, you can only say this without thinking about it. You can only say this without thinking about it if you are so like centered around other cops that you think like, no, these are very important requirements for a job.
Trainees don't make the process.
Right, makes sense.
Down below, I'm gonna move this over so you can see this side. You have your standard cigarette lighter. Just kidding.
Yes, Twitch streaming is a harder job than being a cop.
In case you have your GPS, some officers will actually put in a GPS system and attach it to their window, because if a pursuit happens, one of the common myths is that, oh, well, if you leave Beverly Hills, you just have to stop. Like the old school, chase music. It cuts the chase music, you just have to stop. We're allowed to pursue anybody, anywhere, at any time through the state.
Someone in the chat said, Hasan, you're a professional iPad kid. Yes, much braver than the troops and also than police officers. And also much more difficult of a job.
California, would we is different, but we can follow them. And if we leave our jurisdiction, we make sure our officers know our city like the back of their hand.
Right.
But outside the city in LA, I don't know what streets are where, so some officers will run a GPS in the car. The radio is down here, typical police radio. You can turn the volume up here or change the channel. You also have this little red button, which is an emergency trigger, or E-trig as we call it. If you push that, it will give you the radio for 10 seconds uninterrupted by anybody else. So if you have an emergency where you need to call somebody right now and you don't have time for formalities even, you can push that trigger and it will interrupt everybody.
Ironically, I will say this much, ironically, streaming is kind of a dangerous job due to cops, because of the consistency in the way that they get swatted, which makes their job a little bit more difficult.
Everybody else on the radio to give you that radio.
How clever.
I will say this much. I am willing to bet that, like, not the average streamer, but the top streamer, like some of the top streamers have probably had more guns pulled on them than like a cop, not in Los Angeles, but like a cop in, like a comfortable town in Iowa. I'm having a lot of clippable moments today. I can't wait for some of these to go out there. Iowa is a war zone. I'm becoming a cop to spam the radio cut button and ruin the entire operation. You make the cop's job harder. You ever think about that? I do all the time. Why are you such an Iowa hater? Ironic, because I used Iowa because not as a hater, but because it's like most likely if you live in like a rural part of Iowa, you probably have less interactions, like less altercations in general. I don't get why you're so aggressive towards cops. They're the ones keeping you safe and do so many things that we don't account for. Yeah, dude. Perhaps for the reasons that I just mentioned. No, dude. No, I don't. It's this mentality is just wrong. Are you saying a streamer is in more danger than a cop? No, I'm simply stating that some streamers have probably, I'm willing to bet, have had more guns pulled on them than actual cops in like a nice neighborhood, not one that is like, not in like a big city. Former Iowa resident Hasanabi is correct on all Iowa takes. Yeah, the one Iowa take that I have was actually good for Iowa. I'm saying that there's not that much action happening. Streamers get swatted a lot. And if you don't know what happens in that process, you do get guns pulled on you quite frequently.
For the car? There you go.
Oh, look at that, Christmas.
So we're just at the lights, so you switch to the Christmas lights, but if you just do one, it's going to turn on just a forward facing, and you see the back is on. And so this is nice because at night, you don't want, if you're standing next to the car as an officer, you can already see his face is kind of lighting up.
Yeah,
but
it's bright.
It's bright. But when you turn on all three, which you can switch one more, you see it's even more brightness.
Yeah, that's really bright.
And so we will stop a car at night. As soon as they pull over, sometimes we'll switch it back to that 2. We're there. No, that's 1. That's off.
Yeah, 2.
Yeah, 2. So now you have a forward-facing red, so they know they're still not allowed to go.
Michael passed advanced cop. Michael passed advanced cop training. Yeah, he did it.
We're able to kind of see a little bit more.
Do all cars have exactly the same lights?
Yes, all will have that 3 levels. 1 is just the back lights. 2 is having forward and.
Like, dude, there's a reason why. God, it's so difficult to go against propaganda because it's just like so permanently rewired our brains in America, especially due to like TV and stuff. It's just like, dude, UPS delivery drivers have an infinitely more difficult and infinitely more dangerous job than police officers. And that is objectively true. Okay. You cannot go against that. Delivery drivers have a more dangerous job than policing. Okay. Nurses have a more dangerous job than policing. Like, there are so many professions before you arrive at cops that is like objectively as dangerous. You can say, oh boy, all you want. It's factually inaccurate. Landscapers have a more dangerous job than policing. And in none of those jobs that I just mentioned, do you get to kill someone because you're having a bad day or because you felt scared. Okay. Could you explain how? I mean, there are statistics for this. Like, a lot of people think that on the line duty deaths are happening due to police consistently finding themselves in like a gunfight or something, in gun battles. That's not true. Number one, fatal injury rate is 111 per 100,000 workers is logging workers, aircraft pilots and flight engineers, derrick operators in oil, gas, and mining, roofers, garbage collectors, iron workers, delivery drivers, farmers, firefighting supervisors, power linemen. That's why they got bucket bunnies, agricultural workers, crossing guards, crane operators, construction helpers, landscaping supervisors, highway maintenance workers, cement masons, small agent mechanics, supervisors of mechanics, heavy vehicle mechanics, ground maintenance workers. Number 22 is police officers. Now, one thing you have to remember is that the number one killer of cops is not actually gunfights, okay? It's not. It's actually, it's COVID. Ironically, for the past 3 years in the making, since COVID started, it has been COVID because they were just refusing to get vaccinated and they're very fat. I think it might still be COVID. I don't know if it's still COVID, but it was. Yeah, COVID has reduced the average life expectancy of an American cop by almost 10 years. A lot of cops think, or a lot of people think that cops are like dying on the line. When the on the line duty deaths, if you actually look into it, used to feature canine units, first of all, which is, I guess, kind of ridiculous. Traffic fatalities when a cop is driving like a asshole, okay, and heart failure. It's not, I didn't give you like by likelihood of it happening. I don't know what I can't remember what the exact ones are off the top of my head, but it doesn't even break the top 20, okay? So it's something to think about. These are per capita numbers, by the way. Show the data, newsman. We are looking at the data. This is literally the data. And that's from 2020. You believe that we can live in a society without police? What's the solution? As a person that lives in Portland and are dealing with the protests that happened a few years ago and seeing the aftermath of the situation, I'm conflicted. Wait, what? I am not I am not pro police abolition. A lot of anarchists get mad at me for saying this, but I understand structurally the necessity for an institution, whether it is democratically organized or not, right? Upholding democratically voted on justifiable hierarchies or not, some mechanism for one, solving crime, like detectives, and also two, perhaps more importantly, or not more importantly, but more commonly, a unit that maintains the presence of law and order, okay? You need that. You do need that. It's just that in the United States of America, or just under a global capitalist organization of the economy, most cops do not do that. They are not actually maintaining a presence of law and order. As a matter of fact, depending on how much money you make and what neighborhood you're in, they're oftentimes creating lawlessness and disorder. You don't need that. Bring back samurais. Yes. A law is not a law if not possible to enforce. Any law has consequences when breaking it inherently. Yeah, I mean, there is always going to be a necessity for making it seem, there's always going to be a necessity for like making it seem like there is a, you know, someone out there when push comes to shove that will help you. Problem is, cops don't really do that. That's the issue. They should, but they don't. This shows what officers die from each year. Yeah, this is, I've looked at this many times. Officer Down Memorial page. Crazy that there's still 9/11 related illnesses, but wait, what the f? They don't have this anymore? They used to be able to access this. Total K9 line of duty deaths 3, gunfire. I used to go on this website all the time. Civil society requires the state to have a monopoly over violence. The issue is that the fact that the institution is capital oriented and not community oriented. Thank you. Exactly. I've been on this website so many times. It's crazy. These are just line of duty deaths, not deaths of all cops when not on duty. Pretty sure a lot of the line of duty deaths are just shown as sometimes cops dying while they're actively a cop, as in there was a COVID go-to page, Lamount. Yeah, the fact that people are objecting to your very reasonable take that cops don't actually do the dangerous shit they should is insane after Uvalde. Yeah, Uvalde is one example, but anyway, the fun fact for everybody watching. All right, I'm gonna go pee real quick, and I'm gonna serve the 3-minute ad break, which is the most deadly thing that I do all the time.
And the back, and 3 is the full rotators if you were going somewhere lights and siren.
Right.
Down here, we also have the other buttons, so you can kind of get a spotlight on. You can turn a takedown light on, so if you look in front of us now, it's a lot brighter than it was. Here's the difference. So you imagine you get stopped in the middle of the night, and all of a sudden you feel like you're being abducted by a space alien with how much light is being put on you.
Right.
There's a reason. We want to make sure we illuminate you as much as possible to keep you from, you know, being able to get a weapon we can't see, and at night it could be, you could stop anywhere where
this
you
is
can't
like a
see.
toy shop.
I know,
I mean,
cool.
it's so cool.
So you have all these different lights that you can turn on, but for the most part, those are the most important lights that you will see that we use. Old school videos of cops, they will stop, and it's a pursuit. And they put the car in park and they run out of the car to go deal with someone, the siren just goes the whole time. So now they fixed that issue. If it's in park, once you put it in park, the siren will automatically turn off, which is great. So have you put the car keys in there? I don't know if
Does every car have
It's so funny. They're like, oh, we fixed that issue by automating that process too, because they couldn't fucking remember it.
used one of these
key?
before?
a long time ago?
Yes, all the cars do actually have the same key, so officers could have that.
Do I
So
turn it?
Yep, go ahead and turn it. Okay, so put your foot on the brake. Now put it in gear, just in a drive, and just hold your foot on the brake. So I'm gonna go ahead and hit turn on the siren here.
Wow.
It's
That's
so
Put it in
loud.
park.
insane.
There you go. Yeah, you've driven a police. And now because you have the safety stop thing
Press
on,
this?
No, it's already on. You can just pull the keys out. Turn them and pull it out. There you go. Let me turn these cameras off, but that's the inside of a police car. I'll show
Amazing.
I'll show you the back too.
I would suggest not sitting on
No,
the
I'm
back
not.
seat.
Oh, there's not a whole lot of room back there.
No,
padding.
it's more room than you think actually, but it's not a lot of room. So one of the things that these things have done now is these seat belts. There's some cars that have magnets, but in this one, I'm trying to pull it a little more here. There we go. It actually has this where you can connect it here.
Up here.
So what ends up happening is I'm a bad guy and I go to get put in the car, I can easily just unclip it here and strap it here and put their seatbelt on them without having to reach over, which you can imagine could be a bad thing to do in front of your inmates. Not to mention my ear, you know, you could be Evander Holyfield and have your ear bitten off by Tyson right here if that were to be the case. And that has happened to officers being headbutted actually in the past, where they leaned in to put someone's seatbelt on. No good deed goes unpunished. Headbutt right in the face. So
Wow.
this has actually
Things you don't
surprising,
even think about.
right? A lot of room actually back here, and you notice it's plastic because we can wash this out when need be. Because we've had people vomit, use the restroom, you name
your
it.
head
Use
in.
the restroom.
Poke your head in there and have a
I'm
sniff.
Not going in there.
So this one maybe not. This is one of our newer cars, so you actually probably be okay if you were to sit back here. It's not as dirty as some of the others. but it is a backseat of a police car. So not exactly the gourmet.
Not ideal.
End up back
And I notice it doesn't have electric windows in the back.
Yeah,
right.
You can't do that. Ironically enough, they have those hard plastic windows there. People still try to kick them out every now and then, which doesn't work well. But some agencies use actual bars on the window.
But that you can't get through that, right?
No, I mean, people have tried, and you'll dent it for sure, but you're not getting out of the car. And
Right.
even if you did, we're not going to stop the car and now come and restrain you.
Right.
We're just going to let you do it. No. So it's very rare. And if anybody's in the back seat, we'll be standing somewhere nearby monitoring them, because we can't just leave them there and walk away, mainly because if there's some sort of medical issue.
Right.
If something happens and we don't know, that delay could be deadly. So for us, we're constantly monitoring an arrestee in the back, because if they're in our care, we have to make sure they are cared for.
Glorping.
Makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. This little, bread box up here has two, they look like 40 millimeter rounds, like the sponge rounds you think about when we fire them from a less than lethal weapon. They would actually be able to launch it on a remote or from the car onto the back bumper of a vehicle that's fleeing. And that is actually super sticky, and there's no way to pull it off, basically. And that has a GPS signal sent up to a satellite, and we can follow that car without having to be in active pursuit. So a lot of the cars are being outfitted with these currently. Really, really sticky, that stuff. So when we're training on them, I mean, you touch it and you're just like, get off my hand.
That's so cool. So you just launch it, stick it in someone's bumper, and then go, good luck getting away.
Correct. And let's say they said, you know what? Oh, I know what that is, because most criminals don't even know what it is. They could get out of the car, come back there, try to yank it off, and all they're going to do is make it worse.
And leave their fingerprints on it.
Yeah, good point.
Right.
So they're just going to make it worse. That sticky stuff is going nowhere. And it really doesn't do a whole lot of damage to the car when it impacts.
So how do they get it off?
So eventually there is a way that we get it off, which there is a proprietary way to get it off, but I won't announce that just yet on camera. But for the most part, it is a great system, another tool for officers to keep the community safe. And really, you're noticing a whole technological aspect to the brand new cameras, brand new tasers, Star Chase to stop cars from going in pursuit.
So what's this enormous siren?
So this is my boom box whenever I want to play music on the street. No, this is the LRAD. And
that, by the way, is a long-range acoustic device that was first utilized in Iraq, which is exactly what I was talking about. Now it's like commonplace. It is a long-range acoustic device that is supposed to, disperse crowds, okay? He will probably present it as though it's just a simple PA, but a little bit more powerful or he'll use terms like, civil disturbances. The reality is a torture mechanism that originally was utilized in Iraq and is now being utilized domestically.
The LRAD, forgive me, I forgot exactly what it stands for, but it's
dumbass. Long range acoustic device. You have it in your car. How do you not know what it stands for? Anyway,
a glorified, very directive speaker. And so if we're in some civil unrest scenario and you have a group of people that you'd like to disperse, this can either just play a normal message and very loudly, or it can direct all of that sound to like a group of people standing there. I've actually, when I was in the military, I actually was behind one of these. It was a lot larger than this. And you're standing at least 100 yards away, and this thing sounds like you have a loud, incredibly loud, the loudest siren I've ever heard, kind of like we did the police car, right next to your ear. And you're 100 yards away from it, or more. And that is the directed power of this to kind of do that. So you have lots of options and modes. Do we use it on that? No, but you could, in theory.
Where do you keep your SWAT vehicles?
Yeah, we should go see that, shouldn't we?
Yeah.
Yeah, we should.
Let's go do it.
That.
Yeah.
You have the actual command hub. This has the officers' equipment, new uniforms, a lot of the bigger things. So where in theory you could just show up in your personal car, get to the scene where SWAT is, grab your equipment out of this, and be a full, ready-to-go SWAT officer in a moment's notice. So it's kind of like the Superman phone booth, and voila. On the other side, we have what we call the Bearcat. And the Bearcat is an armored vehicle which will stop many rounds, obviously, going through this.
Chop it.
I know.
It's harder than you can even imagine. Even when you knock on it, it hurts your
knuckles,
your knuckles. Inside, you have a very typical kind of thing that you saw with the other police car, just no computer. there's no computer here.
Oh, it's built on a Ford Super Duty platform.
Yep.
I've always wondered what these were underneath.
Right. So it is a great vehicle. We have to keep it plugged in and ready to go at any time because officers in patrol can still use it. So we've had circumstances where it's a barricaded person in a vehicle, and we don't want the vehicle to go in pursuit. That's very dangerous. So we'll grab this, park it right in front of them, and they're not going anywhere.
Right.
So
It's like parking a house in front of them.
And in this, we have some of the equipment's inside, but they don't have all the equipment in it at all times. But it can hold. If you look in the back here, you can see just how many people can be squeezed into this in full gear. Quite a few, and even have these gun ports that are coming out of the side. That in theory, you had to pull a gun out of here, you could.
And it has a turret on the top as well.
New meaning to bulletproof car.
Yeah, but we have the RAM and stuff. So here, I mean, like you can
Tap this.
I don't.
Yeah, but it's.
John,
Look at that.
The keys to the city.
keys to the city.
There you go.
This is when you like.
Yeah.
This is heavy. It's not what you expect, is it?
You can even see the
Where does it go? I'm putting it here.
shield here.
Oh, there you go.
I'll take it after you're done.
Yeah, mate. That's what you need for the haters.
Oh yeah, look, it has lights on it.
You got it?
Yeah, it's heavy.
Yeah. Well, yeah, because it's got to stop bullets and things.
Hello.
Are these like class 3?
I don't know what it's rated to, but they're definitely a great tool that they use all the time.
Yeah.
Because it's better than standing there.
This is the one you want. And also, look,
Yes.
this one looks like it's taken some rounds.
And they use some of these things in
Nah, probably riot.
training. I mean, you can pick this one up. It's still the same kind of weight as this.
Yeah.
This might be even higher level because this is not as heavy. Plus, it's a little older model. You see how the bigger vision here
Yeah.
is crucial.
This is got
So
like a
guys,
little-
what you don't realize is when you see police in situations where they need to have these shields, this probably weighs 30 pounds.
Sure.
It's
Probably
really
about right.
heavy. That in itself is a task, just moving forward with it.
Yeah, this is being held by somebody. They have the rifle, they have all the vests, the extra layer of armor they wear to keep them safe. So they do have to stay in good shape. That's why they're required every year to go through physical fitness assessments to make sure they can do it.
Yeah, dude. Famously, cops are always going through physical assessments. I guess, like, if you're a SWAT guy, maybe. I wonder why the PR guy for the Beverly Hills Police Department is so jacked talking about physical assessments. It's like, this is the only cop I've ever seen that's fit.
Wow.
It's not easy.
Pick this one up.
So this one is lighter than that one.
Yeah.
But it's heavy.
Yeah.
Hello.
So that's our SWAT stuff. There's the Mobile Command Center is the only other big giant vehicle we have housed.
Armory.
Yeah, this is where they keep the larger munitions, whether that's tear gas or different weapons platforms that they don't have normally. We have a 50 caliber sniper rifle. So some of those rounds, which are not accessible to the public, obviously,
Right.
they keep it in here because our average officer doesn't need those things either. So we also have our dispatch center here, 24/7, just like officers. And they have the same type of shifts that we do, and they will be in here nonstop, answering calls, and then also dispatching to any type of emergency and talking with the officers out there. So we can go inside and actually say hi to our dispatchers.
Let's say hello. Hi, everybody.
This is Michael.
Hi.
And so dispatch is kind of unique because there's a lot that goes on. You're gonna hear all sorts of bells and cameras and everything else going on. They're watching cameras, you'll see more of that later on. But you see, if you count how many monitors they have 7. I don't do good public math, so I did it in advance. But you have 7 monitors that they're looking at to deal with this. The multitasking that's needed for this job is through the roof.
I can imagine.
Is that why they're all ladies?
You know what? Smart man.
Oh, I'm sorry. Well, you must be the rare one.
Yeah.
You're the one that all the ladies want. Okay, both of you.
So on this, all these systems are, and they have to learn all this. And you think about the training timeline for an officer, it takes a long time to train an officer to be ready to go out on their own. Dispatch has to do almost a year-long process, if not longer, to learn. They got to learn.
It's so funny that dispatch is trained more than a cop. Like, in the same precinct, all of a sudden, you literally, on accident, find people that literally have to be more trained than the cops. I doubt that they are also paid evenly or adequately, and also a harder job, by the way, than a cop. Most of the cop training goes towards driving and pushing buttons at the same time, apparently. Yeah, I mean, that's hard. Here you go, dude. You didn't even need to leave the precinct. You didn't even need to leave the precinct to find a job that is more demanding, paid less, and a harder job overall than the other guys in the precinct.
The fire department, how to rescue someone, give CPR instructions over a phone, assess someone's medical emergency. Then they can move on, let's say, to the police department side. Or the police department now, you gotta learn all of our codes, you gotta learn all the penal codes, so you have to know when someone calls and says, hey, this transient, this person experiencing homelessness is fighting with someone.
He's a transient. And then remembered that he's on camera and swapped it back to the person experiencing homelessness.
They have to translate that to cop talk, transient 415, and give it to an officer. So someone else takes a phone call in here, and then while they are, here's another common misconception, you think, hey, well, you're still talking to me, get the officer here, get the officer here. When they're talking to you, they're already entering all this information to a call. A separate dispatcher, which like right now, Megan's on that side, is talking to the officers in the field. So now the officers are able to get this information and respond to that call, and as the person's getting more information, they can update them. So the other interesting thing is, I just said all this stuff, I guarantee Megan heard all of it, because the multitasking that they can do, they can. She does that anyway.
Yeah, I'm sure.
But for the most part, they're able to just literally, it blows my mind that they can hear.
Amazing.
See,
That's
they can hear
really...
that conversation, talk on the radio, replay something back, and that skill is literally has to be trained. Because most people, when you're talking to someone, you don't. When you're driving a car, right? Do you, if you and I are driving a car together, and you're talking to me, do I prioritize talk radio and listen to that first before you? No, I talk to the person right here.
Right.
But in police work, you have to do it the other way around. You have to focus on the radio first, break that habit, and then on the individuals, because I can always ask you to repeat what you said.
Right.
I only get one shot at the radio sometimes.
Very interesting. Very cool.
But you can see if you want to sit down.
How many cameras are there in Beverly Hills?
So we'll talk about that when we get to the real-time watch there, but we have over 2,300 cameras in the city. And it's growing, and some are being increased in the abilities. So some are obviously lower quality cameras, and when they first started, and now they're getting upgraded to 4K and pan tilt zoom, and you'll see some of those cameras, and you'll be like, wow, you can watch somebody like picking their nose, like in a car, from 40 feet away or more. You know, it's
That's
insane.
crazy.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Wow, very interesting.
But you can give your a shot at being a dispatcher.
Let's do it.
So, you know, you can have your phone here, a typical phone, as you imagine they have that, so you can rest it. Yeah, you can rest it right on your shoulder, so you can type with both hands. You could also wear like an actual a headset aspect to it too. And you see on the bottom there, there's actually a pedal. That's a pedal. And if you were to push that, that's actually what is able to broadcast over the radio, so you can just do it with your foot. So I can start talking and typing and pushing a pedal to broadcast to the officers in the field. Wow. So it is a very unique system, all these different buttons. She's on the fire department side, and something will come in, let's say from a different direction.
If his shirt button pops, he's definitely going to draw the gun thinking he's under attack. Right there, set up, mid. I do the same with 3 monitors, you know what I mean?
Jurisdiction, and they'll send it out to where it needs to go, or they'll have one from another place come here, and then they'll deal with it. They got to know how to call Public Works. They got to know how to call pretty much everybody. So this place can be just busy, and that's why you see so many dispatchers.
Stolen vehicles.
Yeah. So we get stolen vehicle alerts here from the automated license plate readers from the real-time watch center, and the dispatchers will verify that plate.
This is where we ignore
and
the
they'll give it out to
stolen
the field
vehicle
officers and
alerts.
say, hey, this is where it just went. Go look for it, and then they'll be ready for it if it turns.
It's because producer Michael's manning the helm half the time, it seems. This is where the dispatcher hears about a stolen vehicle, and then we make the assessment on whether or not we want to do a high-speed pursuit, which is cool, and we will always do it, versus never get around to recovering the car.
So
amazing.
Something like that.
So criminals, don't come to Beverly Hills. You're not going to last long.
One of the things the dispatcher told me one time, what's the funniest call you've ever got? I'm like, wow, you know how we had an earthquake yesterday? I'm like, yeah. Right afterwards, someone called and asked me, when's the next one? So, you know, just they can get calls from that to the only thing they hear on the line is screaming. And you say, what's going on? They have to stay calm and try to get this information from somebody who's just screaming. And so at a certain point, you kind of think, wow, this is a tough job, because they're sitting here maybe relaxing, and all of a sudden screaming. So that emotional intelligence of just being able to stay calm as a cucumber is another factor in this job.
It is a tough job. Yes. Dispatchers, EMTs, like those people do actually have a tough job, for the record. They do. Do you think this cop is natty? No. There ain't no cop that's fit that's natty. Harder than streaming? Yes, dude. Of course, being a police dispatcher is harder than streaming. what is this question? What is this gotcha? It's like, we'll be watching like underwater welding or something. And then a chatter comes in and is like, wow, look at this job. Probably not as hard as twist trimming. It's like, no, dude, of course it's harder than twist trimming. What the
about. They have to turn off their human factors.
Amazing.
So, yeah.
Amazing.
So this is a CSI of Beverly Hills.
CSI Drive.
Yes.
Love it.
They have their very own office spaces and processing areas. You know, if we're lucky and I'm nice to them, they might let us come back behind this barrier. But even I don't have access to get past and access this area because some of it they have some of the most sensitive case information that's being worked on.
Right.
The DNA evidence can solve a substantial number of crimes nowadays. They do fingerprinting, DNA, and they can collect from footprints, you name it. They have the ability.
Blood splatter.
Yeah.
I've been watching too much
Yeah,
Dexter.
you haven't. Yeah.
It's a great show, by the way.
Yeah, great show.
All the things that they do in here
It's like, this is where our backlog is.
are state-of-the-art equipment, and they get a lot of training. And a lot of times people wonder, well, I want to get involved in CSI. Well, it's hard because there's not that many openings for these spots, and it takes an incredible amount of education. Hey.
I was about to say, this is another part of policing that is actually useful, valuable, valid, very difficult.
Can we come back? Can we? I have to ask permission. I just told them. You run the show. I have to ask permission. All right, let's do it.
So this is our crime lab. So we're the crime scene investigation unit. We will go out and assist the officers, collecting fingerprints, any sort of biological evidence, DNA, blood. We can run fingerprints. That's actually what we use that computer back here for. We can pull latents from any type of items of evidence. If that person has been arrested or at some point fingerprinted, we could get a match, and then we just do like the whole visual. It's not like the TV where it's like, hey, match. Like we actually have.
Yeah, an incredible amount of education just means more education to being a cop. No, you do need to get a shit ton of education and training for this job as well. Pretty much every part of policing, except for the front-facing police side, you actually do need to work and get training and actually do a good job. And you get way less workplace protections. You get way less pay. Like it's just like, it is so totally distorted. It is like literally upside down. You need a master's degree in forensic science, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, you literally need like, I don't think you could do it with the undergrad either, but.
To do like the one-to-one comparisons under our microscopes and whatnot. This is where we process DNA primarily. So we can do presumptive blood tests, gunpowder residue, anybody that shot a gun. We can collect that and then send it off to be analyzed. Or DNA reference swabs for elimination purposes or for inclusion purposes of a suspect. That way we can do just like one-to-one comparison. So we do all that here. We have our little Woody. If we have any sort of clothing that might have any sort of like bullet holes or knife marks for stabbings, we can dress him and kind of show up in what area of the body those could have been. Or if we just want to display like the clothes, maybe like something that a suspect's wearing, we can take a photo of it, and then a press release can be put out by our crime analysis unit. And then we have a bunch of like our fancy little machines. So this has light. We're able to use it like for indented writing or whatnot.
One thing I've noticed, perhaps you did as well, is that this department looks barren. It looks so barren. Not a lot of busyness happening at Beverly Hills for a shit ton of the equipment that they have. There's something to consider.
This system here helps us visualize any fingerprints, and we keep a lot of the supplies here for the officers. Tapes, envelopes.
This reminds me of chemistry in school.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's like an old school lab. We have these fume hoods that allow us to be able to do presumptive tests on drugs, and that's why the fume hood. Our evidence drying cabinet, victims' clothing are wet or they're wet with blood or biological fluids, we can dry them out so when they're packaged and examined, they don't mold up. Our shower just for emergency purposes.
Doesn't it like spook you out sometimes dealing with some of this stuff?
Oh yeah, sometimes.
When you bring up shower for emergency purposes.
Yeah.
They were prepared. Also, a lab has clean regs. No, I know. I'm saying that like it's not even just a lab. It's every aspect of the precinct. There's not a lot of like hustle and bustle happening. It's Beverly Hills, chat. That's why there's not a lot of like craziness going on in Beverly Hills. That was my point. It's barren because crime is now legal in California. You can't have action when you can't work. Fun fact, Antonin Scalia correctly believed that national fingerprint databases were unconstitutional and was infuriated by the decision upholding them. That he read his dissent from the bench, one of his exceedingly rare W's. It's interesting.
It's like, whoa.
Every time I shower.
Yeah. Luckily, we haven't had like a chemical spill or any of that, but
Just in case.
Just in case, we've used it where we've gone out to scenes and there's, blood on the floor or muddy or whatnot. We'll, more than anything, use it to like rinse out our shoes and supplies that we have. But it's
fentanyl.
It's there and ready to use in case any chemical spills do happen. These two machines here can put a various amount of items of evidence in there. Put a couple drops of super glue, and the humidity will make it stick to the moisture of the fingerprints that are left behind, and it'll make like a hard plastic version of it. So they'll develop in this white residue that we see here, and then we're able to use either fingerprint powders, black, silver, or sometimes neon colors depending on the background color of our evidence, or we can use chemicals to enhance them. So sometimes we're able to lift them onto a card with some tape. Sometimes we're able to just take photographs because of the chemicals that we're using, but we're able to capture those. So we use these two for these. My favorite processing item is guns. So I've had a lot of success retrieving fingerprints from guns and magazines, and sometimes from ammunition that's been loaded. So we get like really good success with all of this, and very proactive work. We're able to get names pretty quickly if this person's been arrested with all the information that we're getting from the officers. But that's basically like the gist of it.
Thank you for that. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Really, really appreciate it.
So this is the Real-Time Watch Center, a revolutionary aspect of law enforcement where we're combining the city's technologies, which some cities have this technology.
Chinese-style surveillance, brother.
In smaller doses, so automated license plate readers, cameras, maybe even a drone. But we take all of that, and you can even hear our radio, or they'll pump in live 911 calls, so they'll hear it in this operations center. And as you'll notice, you have these different stations where you'll see that there are people watching the cameras 24/7. They can look for active crimes, or they can also pull back video and look for something that already did happen and find key evidence to help our investigators capture those people on the back end, which happens all the time. Our SWAT officers just served a search warrant last week relating to a robbery suspect that occurred in June. So we got all the evidence we needed by going back, looking at these type of things, gathering that evidence, and building that case, and then going and knocking on his door and saying, hello, we'd like you to come back to Beverly Hills on our dime.
Did you knock on it with that big key to the city we saw?
Maybe. So they have their techniques of getting people to come out of the house.
And you said there's 2,300 cameras?
Yeah, they're growing. So we have more cameras on the way, more upgrades planned, and the city continuously puts money into that aspect because it works.
Is that a drone I'm seeing?
Correct. So if you'll see over here, our drone operator today, Officer Givens, he's normally a motor officer who's out there writing tickets and doing things we saw in the motor bay, but he can come in here and work this as a shift. And the reason it needs to be an officer is because he has to recognize these streets from the air. He needs to know our radios. He needs to know our terminology, our lingo, and how our systems work to help officers get guided in to a suspect potentially.
Damn, bro, he's looking at my house. Yo, chill.
That's committing a crime. So he is.
Hence why not very many people get away with crime.
He's about to drone my house, bro.
Beverly Hills.
Correct. So he's communicating with someone who is on top of a roof, like we had talked about, where they launched this drone. So they'll launch the drone, and then from there he can fly around, and what he's watching is a property where there's a burglary alarm. And so he's probably first on scene. There's probably no officers there yet at all. And he's able to watch the property, zoom into the backyard, as you can see here, and look and see if there's anybody trying to run away when an officer shows up. So that's the officer actually searching the property. And so what ends up happening is he's going to check the property around to look for any open doors, windows, something that is a sign.
Because the alarm went off.
Correct. And so if they do see those signs, obviously they'll ask for additional resources. They might search the entire house looking for a suspect. If they don't see anything, everything looks secure, could be a false alarm. It happens a lot, but we have to treat every single one of them as if it's real. Right. And in those false alarms, sometimes it's set off because nobody wants to think about this in Beverly Hills, but sometimes when you're not home, mice like to take over your house, or other animals, or
Did you hear that?
yes, even the city does have cockroaches, ironically, and sometimes there can be a large cockroach that can set off people's motion detectors. So
That's a big
My
old
dogs
cockroach.
do
right?
it all the time.
Yes.
So,
Yeah. So it's one of those things that, you know, you never know what the false alarm is from. It could be a faulty wire, it could be all sorts of things, but every officer when they get on the scene's got to search these giant properties, and sometimes they're huge, and it takes several officers in a long period of time to search the whole thing.
So I have an app on my phone. It's BHP Alerts.
Yes.
And it will say investigation going on Crescent Drive.
Yes.
And then 3 minutes later, it'll say robbery investigation or something, and then 3 minutes later, suspect apprehended.
Yes.
It's amazing.
Yeah, we like to give people as much information as we can.
Yeah.
You know, we can't say it's Professor Plum with the candlestick in the living.
I'm willing to bet they made that app because they saw that like those neighborhood apps that pop off led to probably increasingly positive pro-police sentiment. So they made their own app. It's great marketing. There's literally nothing better as far as marketing than Nextdoor and all of those other apps that are constantly fucking projecting like whatever minor crime that people suspect is a major crime half the time is occurring.
Living room. But, you know, we can give a lot of details to the public to stay away from here. We're searching for somebody. And once we get them, we do like to tell people.
Isn't it cool though? No, it's not. Those apps are terrible, dude. I'm a firm believer that like the mass adoption of apps like that have caused people to think that like the crime panic is greater than it actually is. Two things that you have to remember. One, crime is a constant in a city, okay? You don't need to have that blasted in your fucking face nonstop. It's a constant. It's happening all the time, all around us, okay? It's happening literally wherever you are. There's definitely crime happening, possibly very close to you, okay? The issue is, however, when you have apps like Nextdoor and all those like weird apps, it's blasting it to your face all the time, and it's also used by the most neurotic individuals who are not going to accurately report it anyway. So it creates a sense, even if you are living in a city, it creates the sense that like there is so much more crime occurring than you actually think. So even if it was like adequately reporting all the crimes that are happening, it would still make your brain go crazy. It would make you paranoid. But it's even worse because it's not just real crime occurring in real time. It's literally people suspecting that crime is occurring and reporting it as such.
We have all of them in custody. No need to worry.
Amazing, amazing.
We're out here in front of the police department because there's also a special guest I wanted to introduce you to. It's one of our canine handlers, Officer Mike Downs, and his dog.
Hi. I don't want to shake your hand because I might get my arm ripped off, right?
No, he's very friendly.
Good boy. Can I stroke him?
Absolutely.
Hi.
Give him a good pet.
Can I stroke him? Jesus Christ, dude. British people are crazy. Only bad dogs are canine dogs. It's so sad that this is one of the cutest aspects, and it's literally one of the most unconstitutional, worst aspects of policing. What are you doing? As soon as the dog comes on screen, Kaya starts going crazy underneath me. Because like it is one of the least constitutional aspects of policing is that the canine units in general are specifically there to unlawfully search your car and oftentimes seize your shit. That's it. That's literally it. They have a like 87% failure rate or something. It's crazy. Their entire job is to be like, oh, this dog that I've trained to tap your car that will give me fake constitutional legal grounds in searching your vehicle has done the thing. Yeah, it is that dog that he's petting, this beautiful Belgian Malinois that he's petting, is a Fourth Amendment loophole. That's all this is.
Hi. Good boy.
What's his name?
Darko.
Darko. Can I say hi?
Absolutely.
Oh, he's sweet. How old is he?
He is 6 years old.
Oh, bless
Just
him.
turned 6 last month.
Adam and I are both huge dog lovers.
Yeah.
They do an amazing job, and he loves you.
He's a good pup.
Good boy.
Darko is a 6-year-old Belgian Malinois, originally from the Czech Republic. He came over to the United States at about 6 months. He is trained in apprehension and explosives detection.
Wow. And did you train him?
So we typically will get them trained, but we train with them pretty much weekly, if not daily, to make sure that they stay up on all the skill sets that we need them for.
And this is his.
Yeah, you can't not. If you're a canine unit, you have to train your dog. There's no. That's just how dogs are. You have to consistently keep training it. Even if you didn't do the initial training, you still have to
Toy,
keep training.
right?
Yes.
And he'll do anything for his toy.
Within reason, yes.
And within reason means apprehending suspects and explosives.
Right. That's pretty heavy duty. Yeah, good dog.
Take it.
Now that's brave. That is very brave.
Yeah, he's a very good boy.
He doesn't even try. I mean, it's, oh, there we go. Yeah.
He's beautiful.
He's absolutely gorgeous.
He's a good
Want to
boy.
try?
I have a German
Sure.
Shepherd Husky
Hi.
mix, so I
Hi.
love this
Oh,
guy.
very good.
Good boy. Wow, he's got some power. Oh, wow.
And it's not even
And he's
half
not
of
even
it.
doing anything.
Yeah.
He's got, yeah, a little bit more than Bernedoodle, yeah.
Not a lot of weight, but
Wow.
he is very good at what he
Good
does.
boy. Good boy. Well, I'll hand him back to you. Thank you so much for introducing him. Really appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
Sergeant Newman.
Call me Jeff.
Jeff, this has been incredible.
Great.
Thank you so much for this
pleasure.
incredible tour. Guys, make sure you follow BHPD on Instagram. They have an amazing Instagram, and you learn more about the BHPD Police Department. It's just incredible. It really is, and this has been an experience.
My dad was a cop. He got in trouble for ruining several police dogs. He kept giving them treats, so when they saw him on scene, they wouldn't work. They just begged my dad for treats. That's awesome. My bottomless hate for police and corrupt executive branch versus my unconditional love for dogs. Yeah, no, straight up. I just, that dog is a good boy. I know that he does a lot of fucked up shit, but he is a good boy at heart. This is propaganda, and it works on me. I'm not even kidding. As soon as I see a dog like that, I'm like, I drop everything, okay?